Here we have a polynomial and it's set equal to 0 on the right hand side. So we're going to solve by the factoring method, just like we did with quadratics. We're just going to factor and set each factor equal to 0. Here we have this is a polynomial with 4 terms, so sometimes we use grouping, and we're going to do that here. We're going to do grouping, group together the first 2 terms and the second 2. Pull out a common factor from each group. So in this group we have a common factor of x squared. And when we pull that out, we're left with x plus 3. And here we have a common factor of minus 5. And when we pull that out, well, we are also left with x plus 3. So when that happens, when we do factoring by grouping and we're left with the same thing in parentheses in each group, then we can pull out the entire set of parentheses. So let's put the x plus 3 on the side. And we pulled it out of this first group, and we're left with x squared. And we pulled the x plus 3 out of the second group, and we're left with minus 5. All right, so now we can solve x squared minus x plus 3 equals 0, let's say. And we solve that by subtracting 3 from both sides, and we get x equal minus 3. So there we have one solution. And then if we solve x squared minus 5 equals 0, we can put 5 on the other side and take the plus minus square root of both sides. So we end up with 3 solutions: minus 3, square root 5, and minus square root 5. In number 2, we have a polynomial, again, set equal to 0 on the right-hand side. So we're going to factor and set each factor equal to 0. We have a common factor here of x cubed. So let's just pull out x cubed. And we're left with x squared minus 9. And we can factor x squared minus 9. This is a difference of 2 squares. So this factors into x plus 3 times x minus 3. And now we're ready to set the factors equal to 0. So we have x cubed equals 0, that is x equals 0. And x plus 3 equals 0, that gives us x equal minus 3. And then we have x minus 3 equals 0, which gives us x equals 3. So we have 3 solutions. In number 3, we have denominators x plus 3 and x plus 2. So we're going to start by clearing out the denominators and multiplying both sides by x plus 3 times x plus 2. Okay, and let's mention at this point that x cannot be equal to minus 3, because that makes this denominator 0, and x cannot be equal to minus 2, because that makes this denominator 0. So let's just mark that down, all right, and keep it in mind for later. All right, let's multiply through. Okay, so we have x plus 3, x plus 2 over 1, I'm just doing the distributive law here, times 2x over x plus 3, plus x plus 3, x plus 2 over 1 times 2 times x plus 3 over x plus 2 equal 3 times x plus 3, x plus 2. Let's start simplifying. All right, let's cross off those denominators, and here we can cross off x plus 2. All right, now let's multiply through 2x times x plus 2. So we have 2x squared plus 4x. That's 2x squared plus 4x. All right, and now we're multiplying. Here we have 2 times x plus 3 times x plus 3. I'll put the 2 on the outside, and I'll multiply x plus 3 times x plus 3, and that is x squared plus 6x plus 9 is equal to, on the right-hand side, I'm going to multiply x plus 3 times x plus 2, and we get x squared plus 5x plus 6. All right, let's open up those parentheses. First, multiplying by 2, 2x squared plus 12x plus 18. And on the right, multiplying by 3, 3x squared plus 15x plus 18. All right, now subtract 18 from both sides. That's easy to do. Let's say here we have 4x squared. Okay, 3x squared. Okay, so here we have 4x squared plus, let's add these two terms now, and we have 16x equal to, and here we have 3x squared plus 15x. Let's set this equal to 0, bring everything over to the left. So we're going to subtract 3x squared from both sides, and we're left with x squared. Subtract 15x from both sides, and we're left with plus x, equal 0 on the right-hand side. Now we're ready to factor. We can do that by pulling out x. We have two factors, and we get the solutions x equals 0 from the first factor, and the second factor, x plus 1 equals 0, gives us x equal minus 1. Let's go back to see the restrictions on x. X can't be minus 3 or minus 2, but these are okay. All right, so those are our two solutions. In number 4, we're going to start by factoring this denominator. X squared minus 9 is x plus 3, x minus 3. So we see the factors in the denominators. We have just x plus 3 times x. We have just x plus 3 and x minus 3, and here we have the product of those two. Let's mention on the side that x cannot equal 3 and x cannot equal minus 3, because those values will make the denominators, some of the denominators, 0. All right, let's clear out the denominators. We're going to multiply both sides by the product of x plus 3, x minus 3, on the right and on the left. Okay, let's multiply through. Okay, here we have x plus 3, x minus 3 over 1. I'm just doing the distributive law here. Multiply it by the second term, 3 over x plus 3. And on the right-hand side, we just get this canceling. And we're just left with 6x. Okay, now more canceling. Cancel the x minus 3's, cancel the x plus 3's. All right, now let's multiply through. X times x plus 3, we have x squared plus 3x. And here we have x minus 3 times 3, we have 3x minus 9 is equal to 6x. All right, so here we have x squared plus 6x minus 9 is equal to 6x. Subtract 6x from both sides, and we have x squared minus 9 is equal to 0. And let's factor. And setting each factor equal to 0, we get x is equal to minus 3, and x is equal to 3. Now notice we said right in the beginning that x can't equal 3, x can't equal minus 3. So these are not valid solutions. All right, so we write no solution. In number 5, we have an expression raised to the exponent 1/3 equal to 2. So what we're going to do is we're going to open up parentheses by raising both sides to the reciprocal of 1/3. So that would be 3/1. And we have to do this on both sides. All right, so on the right side we get 2 cubed, which is 8. And on the left, when we multiply, we have this canceling over here, so we just have x minus 2. And finally just add 2 to both sides, and we get x is equal to 10. In number 6, we're going to raise both sides to 3/2 to the reciprocal. All right, but here we have to do this carefully, because essentially what we're doing is, because of this square root, this 2 in the denominator, that it's like taking the square root of both sides. So we need to take the plus minus square root. All right, so when the exponent is even, all right, or in our case it'll almost always be 2. When the exponent is 2, when we take the reciprocal of both sides, we get a 2 in the denominator, and then we do plus minus. So if we have a 2 in the denominator, when we raise both sides to a fraction with 2 in the denominator, we do plus minus. All right, so let's just keep that in mind. Okay, so here we get x plus 3 is equal to plus or minus. Now let's evaluate this. Square root 4 is 2, and then cubed is 8. Write this as two equations. X plus 3 is equal to 8, and x plus 3 is equal to negative 8, and solve both. All right, so here we get x is equal to 5. And here we get x is equal to negative 11, two solutions. In number 7, we're going to raise both sides to the 2/3. Okay, so 2/3 exponent on both sides. All right, here we simply get canceling. So on the left we have x plus 3. And on the right we have 27 to the 1/3. The cube root of 27 is 3. So we have 3 squared, which is 9. So we have x plus 3 is equal to 9. Subtract 3. And we have x is equal to 6. And number 8, again, raise both sides to the reciprocal. So that would be 2/3. And 8 to the 2/3. We don't do plus minus because what we're raising to on both sides, the exponent that we're raising both sides as, doesn't have 2 in the denominator. All right. Okay, so cancel here and here. We just get 5x minus 1 on the left, and on the right, first cube root of 8 is 2, so we have 2 squared, which is 4. 5x minus 1 is equal to 4. Add 1, 5x is equal to 5, and divide by 5, and we have x is equal to 1. In number 9, we will first solve for this expression, and then we'll raise both sides to the 3/2. So first just subtract 1 from both sides, and then we have 2x minus 1 to the 2/3 is equal to 16. And now we'll raise both sides to the 3/2. Notice that 2 in the denominator. That's like when we take the square root of both sides, we do the plus minus square root. So we'll do that here as well. So we have 2x minus 1 is equal to plus or minus, let's just evaluate this now. Square root of 16 is 4, and cubed is 64. So we'll have 2x minus 1 is equal to 64, and 2x minus 1 is equal to minus 64. Add 1, and x is equal to 65 divided by 2. Here, add 1 to both sides, and we have 2x is equal to minus 63. Now divide by 2.